Hi everyone, welcome to today's grammar lesson. So, over the last few weeks, we have covered quite a lot of different topics in grammar. You've all done absolutely fantastic work. So, today's lesson, we are going to do a full recap of the different topics that we've covered. Throughout today's lesson, you do not need a pencil or a piece of paper. You do not need to write anything. I will ask you a few questions as we go and try and think of the answer and say them orally. So let's begin today's lesson. So the first topic that we are going to explore and review are modal verbs. So can you remember what a modal verb is? Excellent. So modal verbs are used for ability, advice, obligation, and action. So in the present tense for ability, can you think of a sentence in the present tense of ability? Can you meet me at 5? Or are you able to meet me at 5? So you can write it in either format. So this is used to talk about a possibility. We can use it to talk about ability. I can ride a bike. I'm able to do splits now. Also, remember, it has two negative forms, can't and cannot. I can't tie my laces. My older brother is now able to drive. So moving on to the past. Can you think of sentences in the past using the past ability of the modal verb? We usually use could or couldn't to talk about general abilities in the past. She could paint before she started school. I couldn't cook until I went to university. When I lived next to the pool, I could go swimming every day. So now you can see in the present, you can talk about possibility, ability, and there's two negative forms. In the past, we use could or couldn't. So the future. Do you remember how we form the future? So remember, can has no future form. Therefore, we use the form be able to. Can you think of your own sentence with be able to? Excellent. I can't call you tonight, but I'll be able to contact you in the morning. Do you need a lift home? My dad will be able to take us home after school. I won't be able to go to Yas this weekend because of the coronavirus. Do you think you'll be able to come to the mall this evening? So in the future, we use be able to. And then to form the negative, we add in won't. Excellent. So moving on. So what is the modal of obligation? Can you tell me? Excellent. So there is different forms. It is necessary. So in other words to say it is necessary, you must, you mustn't, you have to, or you need to. So these come under laws, rules, or regulation. Can you think of your own sentence using you must? Excellent. You could say, you must follow the school rules. It is not necessary. So other words for this are you don't have to, you don't need to, or you needn't. Can you think of your own sentence with you don't need to? Excellent. You could say you don't need to set an alarm at the weekend as you don't have to get up for school. It is okay or permitted. So you could say you can or it is allowed. Can you think of your own sentence using it is allowed? Excellent. The modal of obligation continued. It is not okay or permitted. So it's against the rules. So not allowed, forbidden, or you can't. Can you think of your own sentence using not allowed? Excellent. You are not allowed to bring your phone to school. It is a good idea. So this is where we recommend. So you should or you ought to. It is a good idea. So we could put a sentence saying, wait, you ought to. You ought to study for your exam to get a good grade. It is not a good idea. So you shouldn't. So it's not a rule or law, but it's a recommendation. Can you think of your own sentence? Excellent. You shouldn't break the school rules, as you will get in trouble. So modal of advice or action. To give advice, we use should, ought to, or had better. Can you think of your own sentence using should? Fantastic. You should take a break and get some rest. Can you think of your own sentence for ought to? Excellent. You ought to visit your grandparents more often. The negative of should, we'll go back to this one, is you shouldn't. She shouldn't have stayed up late. And finally, can you think of a sentence with had better? Excellent. You had better obey the rules. Excellent. So they are your modal verbs. So let's just do a quick recap. Come back in. So we use them for ability, advice, obligation, and action. Now, moving on to our next topic. What are zero conditionals? Can you tell me? Fantastic. Zero conditionals are facts. So can you remember how we form the zero conditional? Excellent. So it's if plus the present simple plus a comma plus the present simple. And the sentence example is, if you freeze water, comma, it turns to ice. So this is a fact. Do you remember what our first conditional is? Also, do you remember how we formed them? And can you think of your own sentence example? Excellent. So, the first conditional is to talk about future possible actions. So, actions that may or will happen in the future. If we work hard, we will finish the project on time. And to form it, we have if plus the present simple plus a comma plus the future simple. Excellent. To form the negative, if you don't drive carefully, comma, you will have an accident. So what is the second conditional? Can you think of your own example? And can you think of how we form it? Excellent. So the second conditionals talk about unreal situations. So to write it in the positive is if plus a simple past plus a comma plus would, could, might, and the verb. An example. If I were you, comma, I would watch this lesson. The negative. We add not after would, could, or might. So an example is, in the negative form, if I won $1 million, comma, I would not give it all away. So remember, can you tell me if your sentence does not begin with if, what do we not add in? Fantastic. If the sentence doesn't begin with if, we do not use a comma. So just a quick recap. So 0 conditionals are facts. The first conditional is to talk about future possible actions. And then the second conditional is to talk about unreal situations. Excellent. So our next topic is simple, compound, and complex sentences. So firstly, do you know how to form a simple sentence? Or what is a simple sentence? Excellent. A simple sentence consists of only one clause. So an example, Ahmed waited for the bus. A compound sentence consists of 2 independent clauses. Do you remember how we form it? So it's 2 independent clauses, but what else do we have to add in? Excellent. We add in our fanboys, which are our conjunctions. So F is for, A is for and, N is for nor, B is for but, O is for or, Y is for yet, and S is for so. So can you think of your own compound sentence using one of these fanboys? Super. She did not cheat on the test, comma. 4 was not the right thing to do. So can you tell me something about that sentence? Excellent. There is a comma before the conjunction. So she did not cheat on the test, comma, 4, it was not the right thing to do. So complex sentences. So a complex sentence has at least one independent clause plus at least one dependent clause. So, can you remember what conjunctions we could use to form a complex sentence? Fantastic. So I saw a wobble. So I is for if, S is for since, A is for as, W is for when, A is for although, W is for while, A is for after, B is for before, U until, and B because. Now, using one of those conjunctions, can you form your own complex sentence? So remember, you need an independent clause, you need your comma, a conjunction, and a dependent clause. Fantastic. So, an example is, the boys did not go to the zoo because they went to the park. So, simple sentence is an independent clause. The compound sentence is two independent clauses, and it contains a fanboy, which is your conjunction. And then your complex sentence contains an independent clause, a dependent clause, and a conjunction using I saw a wobble. Fantastic. So, moving on to the next topic. Imperative verbs. So, our bossy verbs. So, remember little Miss Bossy telling you what to do. So, do you know why or what's the reason for imperative verbs? They're to give what? Excellent. They give us a command. Where does the imperative verb go in the sentence? It's seen at the beginning of a sentence. So a sentence giving us an order. Can you think of a sentence? Go away. Stop that. Keep quiet. Instructions. So what type of imperative verb could we use for instructions? Apply the glue thinly and leave it for 10 minutes. Advice. Can you think of your own sentence? Super. Be careful. Don't eat too much. Warning. So can you think of an imperative verb sentence with a warning? Don't go on the ice. Where else can we use imperative verbs? Where would we see them? Excellent. So you could see them in a cookbook, like we've seen before. You could see them in advertising for like a new iPhone or a new Xbox. So buy this could be the caption. Upgrading sentences. So do you remember how we upgrade our sentences and why do we upgrade our sentences? We have a normal little sentence, but why do we upgrade it? We upgrade our sentences to add more precise detail. So it makes the sentence exciting. It creates emotions to the reader. So you can make the reader excited, you can make them sad, you can make them happy. But how do we do this? So remember, we could add in ing words. So can you think of your own sentence, an exciting sentence with an ing word? Excellent. So, grabbing her bag, comma, Sarah rushed out of her house, slamming the door behind her. We could use a simile. Can you think of a simile? Like a whirlwind, comma, Ahmed crashed into the room. Preposition. An example is, we drove across the desert. We could add in ly words, which is our adverbs. So using this, we create an image. So carefully, Adam opened the wooden treasure box. So this is telling us how Adam opened the wooden treasure box. Using connectives. So we've used connectives before. Can you think of a sentence with a connective? So look at the map, comma, please. Otherwise, comma, you will get lost. Adding ed words. An example, exhausted. David slumped under the shaded tree. So this tells us how David felt. So he's exhausted. He slumped. So this is creating an image of how he actually went under the tree. And shaded, that tells us what the image of the tree is. So we know the sun was not beaming down under the tree. So it'd be a nice, cool, quite dark kind of tree area. Excellent. So there is our grammar recap. Now, for today's activity, if you just click the link and follow through and answer a few short questions based on the grammar topics that we've covered today. Good luck and thank you.